As far as high-risk pregnancies, that can be defined in a lot of ways, whether that's maternal age, So when we're discussing epidurals, cesareans, or high-risk pregnancies, sometimes they are mutually exclusive, sometimes they happen all at the same time. It really depends the situation. And so as a doula, my role is to come in and support a birthing person's wishes. Sometimes I've heard people shame birthing persons for wanting an epidural or saying that getting an epidural or a cesarean is the easy way out. And in no way is birth easy, ever. And regardless of the route that you take, there should be no shame in the decision that you make, and you should feel empowered in that decision. So as a doula, whether you are going to have a hospital or home birth, there is a role in each of those spaces that I provide both the birthing person and the support persons that are around, whether that is a partner or family members. So in the case of a cesarean section, cesareans are about 30% of births and are higher for persons of color. So in thinking about cesareans, that can be a really traumatic experience. It's major abdominal surgery. Most cesareans aren't planned, and the ones that are planned, we assume that because they're planned, they'll go as planned and we'll have a baby. And while a baby is always the ultimate goal in birth, the process is just as important. We remember our births and the events leading up to our birth for the rest of our lives. It's memorable. And so having a doula in that space when a birthing person is about to have a cesarean section or is knowing that they are going to have a cesarean section, my role would be to prepare them mentally and emotionally. During a cesarean, even though it's a surgery, there are things called gentle cesareans or compassionate cesareans, which means that different from typical cesareans, I advocate so that the birthing person can have a gentle experience where they are able, should they choose to watch the birth of their baby. They are encouraged to push, even though the baby is coming out of the abdomen. They are able to hold the baby right away, because sometimes during cesareans, traditional cesareans, babies are taken away from the birthing person for medical reasons. But in a gentle cesarean, it's a slower process and less traumatic. As far as epidurals go, even if a client gets an epidural, they still have a lot of work to do. And when an epidural kicks in, there's the myth that, oh, you won't feel anything and you'll just push your baby out. There's still a long labor process that occurs after that. And as a doula, I'm still there emotionally and physically for that birthing person. And then when it comes time to push, oftentimes the birthing person can't feel how hard or how long to push. And so my job is to make sure that they're pushing in a way that honors their body, that reduces or prevents tearing. With epidurals, there can be quite a bit of tearing during the birth of the baby, and there's a lot of care that goes into the afterwards. So as a postpartum doula, I may assist a birthing person who's had tearing due to an epidural by creating sitz baths for them or teaching them how to care for the healing process that occurs. As far as high-risk pregnancies, that can be defined in a lot of ways, whether that's maternal age, health problems that are currently existing prior to the pregnancy or that come about during pregnancy. High-risk pregnancies also include pregnancies of women that have had difficult ones in the past, and doctors want to monitor in this pregnancy. So especially in those situations when a woman has a lot more to think about in regards to her birth and her pregnancy, labor doulas are really important in that, making sure that the birthing person feels supported throughout their pregnancy, especially when it's related to finding best practices for nutritional health or for physical health. And then for high-risk pregnancy, sometimes medical interventions are needed or performed during labor and after birth. Again, postpartum doulas are crucial in helping make sure that aftercare happens for both the birthing person and the baby.